Because we have to chase him.
Okay, we're going in! Go, go!
He didn't do anything wrong.
Because he's the hero Gotham deserves. But not the one it needs right now. So we'll hunt him. Because he can take it. Because he's not our hero. He's a silent guardian. A watchful protector. A dark knight.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Randall's Comics and You Know. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend and a wonderful Father's Day. Hope all the fathers, soon-to-be fathers, fathers to come, hope they had a wonderful Father's Day. My brother and I, like I said, we've got our dad. He's still with us. He's a great guy. Like I say, I'm thankful. Like I said, that he's my dad. So he's a really great guy. Anyways, as for tonight's episode of Randall's Comics and You Know, we're going to focus on Batman, the later years, as far as, turning dark. Or did Batman already start out dark? Anyway, since the 1950s, when the Comics Code Authority was established, it was established pretty much, it was a self-imposed, pretty much like a moral police or keeping things out of comics, pretty much preventing any adult storytelling. And by the early 2000s, publishers bypassed this Comics Code. Marvel's Comics abandoned it in 2001. And by 2010, only 3 major publishers still adhered to it: DC Comics, Archie Comics, and Bongo Comics. Bongo broke with the CCA in 2010, and DC and Archie followed in 2011, rendering the Comics Code defunct. And that was the end of the Comics Code. So anyway, the character of Batman had drifted from the darker, more serious roots it was until the 1970s, when the character began to feature in darker stories once again. However, Batman was still commonly associated with the campy theme of the 1960s Batman TV series, and was regarded as a father figure to Robin rather than as an original identity as a vigilante. Now, of course, in the 80s, I believe, like I say, Frank Miller was given the task of reimagining Batman. And like I said, The Dark Knight Returns is widely considered to be one of the greatest and most influential Batman stories ever made, as well as one of the greatest works of comic art in general, and has been noted for helping reintroduce a darker and more mature-oriented version of the character and superheroes in general to pop culture during the 1980s. Various elements of the series have since been incorporated into depictions of Batman and other media, while and so on and so forth. But yeah, it pretty much I guess opened the door for more adult storytelling. And the immense popularity of The Dark Knight Returns served both to return the character of Batman to a central role in pop culture, but also, along with Watchmen, started the era known as the Dark Age of comic books, also known as the Modern Age and the Iron Age. The grim, seedy versions of Gotham and Batman updated the character's identity from the campy Adam West version of the 1960s Batman TV series, and proved critically and commercially successful enough that a new wave of dark superheroes were either created or repopularized, and pre-existing heroes were redesigned and retooled to fit the new trend. And of course, we've seen this not with just Batman, but with Superman, Spider-Man, and Marvel. Like I say, as far as the, trying to reconnect the characters to the modern reader. And with some of these characters, it does work, but with some of them, it doesn't work, because, like I said, from the get-go, Batman's character has been like, from the witnessing his parents murdered in front of him. I mean, that pretty much set the stage of how he was going to be handling or fighting crime from this point forward. So let's take a quick look at my serious Batman comics tonight, and see what y'all think. All right, and welcome back to this episode of Randall's Comics and You Know. And like I said, the books I'm going to show you tonight is the Nightfall series. The story takes place over approximately 6 months. Bruce Wayne, Batman, suffers burnout and is systematically assaulted and crippled by a super steroid enhanced genius named Bane. Bruce is replaced as Batman by an apprentice named Jean Paul Valley, aka Azrael, who becomes increasingly violent and unstable, tarnishing Batman's reputation. Eventually, Bruce is healed through paranormal means and reclaims his role as the Batman. So, kicking it off tonight, this is Detective Comics number 662, number 8. Nice looking cover there. This is Detective Comics 663, Nightfall number 10. Ooh, somebody call the exterminator. My goodness. Batman the Tunnel Rat. And this is issue Batman number 497. This, of course, the classic Bane the chiropractor giving Batman I need to see his masseuse license, but yeah, this is the breaking of the bat. Literally the breaking of the bat. And this is 664, Nightfall issue number 12. Man, Bane, you already freaking broke the guy's back. Step on a crack, break Batman's back. Oh, bad joke. Okay. And this is 499, number 17. Oh, that's the Batman attacking this person. Look, I found something on the back. I need to put this in another bag. Yeah, I need to get this out of here. 445. All right, I'm gonna set this off to the side. This needs to go into its own bagging board. And this is Night's End Part 1. Oh, this is, like I said, this is that series that ran. This is Batman being retrained, Bruce Wayne. Okay. Let's flip out of here. This is Night's End 676. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Okay. And this is Night's End, Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, number 62. And of course, we have some Robin in here. Night's End Part 5. Then we have Night's End, it's like I said, Part 6. Catwoman. There's Catwoman trying to fight off Azrael. He's looking all, I'm gonna beat probably that guy to, anyway. And there's Batman, Night's End Part 7. Batman is fighting Azrael to take back his mantle as the Bat. And here's Robin. Well, of course, it's probably not Robin's Nightwing. Night's End Part 9. Jumping in to help out his old mentor. We have Night's Ends Part 10. The climax. Then we have Night Quest. Of course, that's Azrael in his full battle suit. Let me take some of these out. And last but not least, we have Crusade. Ooh, like he's taking care of Robin. I've told you, I don't need a sidekick. All right, and let's just throw this in for good measure. Robin issue number 1. Looks like Bane threw him through that, not Bane, but Azrael threw him through that window. Alrighty, and that concludes my Batman series. As for what do y'all think about the reimaging of comic book characters to make them more relevant for new readers? We'll discuss that in tonight's episode of You Know. All right, and that concludes tonight's episode of Randall's Comics and You Know. If you like what I brought to you tonight, please smash that like and subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when I send out make new videos, which is usually on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Hint, hint. And I did get that. I need to stop doing. I don't know what I was thinking when I was 16, 15, 16. I was double bagging on those books. Anyway, so what do you think about Batman? Getting back to his origins. Frank Miller bringing him back to the Dark Knight. Making him what he intended to be. The original Dirty Harry. And what do you think about that same concept being applied to other comic characters? Does it work? Would it work with someone like Superman? That is his wholesome, goody two-shoe image. Would it work with with Spider-Man to an extent? Would it work with certain characters like Wolverine, badass? Yeah, it just goes. But I think they're gonna pretty much do this just to make the characters relevant to the times and to the comic readers of today. So anyway, this concludes my episode for tonight, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. And as always, on Randall's Comics and You Know, peace. And don't forget that fish grease. You guys take care, and I'll see you next time.